So I've been doing this for 20 years. I've lived in ashrams, I've been with gurus, I've gone to some of the most remote places. I'm certified in yoga and meditation. I work with a clinic of yogis in India. So now I teach meditation and yoga, and I kind of use that intuitive sense with my clients.
You also have like plenty of other degrees, right?
Yeah.
You're a lawyer.
So I'm a lawyer, so I think my analytical and research skills come in really handy, because when I do a reading or when I'm with a client or a student, certain things come to me. So I can see an energy system, I can see what's happening to them. I'm not a medical physician, but I trust the messages that are coming to me because they've been developed over years and they're consistently accurate. But being a lawyer makes me want to really dig in and understand, well, what does that mean? So if I don't understand, I'll read medical journals, I'll start to piece it together, and then I'm able to now piece it together from a physical perspective, now into the energy perspective that I do know intuitively.
And I also want to bring up the fact that there have been several people that I've referred to you, and your technique is so unique. I had not experienced it before, where you're talking about what you're seeing in somebody's energy body and how it's affecting their physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like you to explain, what does that look like? When you're receiving that information, what does it feel like? What are you receiving? And then how are you interpreting it into a physicality?
Okay. It's really interesting. So what happens is, I don't even need to see a picture of the person or really need to know their last name. It's almost as if there's this other power that's kind of giving this message to me. But what ends up happening is, let's say I see your name and you say, okay, well, what's happening with me? All of a sudden I'll get a flash, and it will be a flash in a person's part of the body. And again, I'm not a medical doctor, but for the most part, because I've been trained in yoga and I come from a family of physicians, and just what I know of my own body, I can see what that potentially is. But what happens is almost like an X-ray. So the way that a person would go to a physician and get an X-ray vision of something, I have that. And the way that it works is that if it's really dense of what I'm seeing, then that's where I feel like it's in the physical body. When it's a little bit more light, it looks like an X-ray, then that's when I know it's in the energy system.
You're saying that you see an X-ray. You're saying that you get a flash. What do you mean? You're getting like a picture, like an image is coming to your, to your mind. How do you differentiate between something that you're creating with your own mind and some information that you're receiving?
That's an excellent question. And this is talking about what people go through energetically is something that I've learned to be more confident about because of that question. And what I've come to realize is that, one, I have to be in a certain space, which I've worked on for years, to be in a certain space to receive it. And I've worked on myself through meditation and different techniques to know what is my mind and what is that space in between my mind. So the way that messages work for me is, I'll get a flash, and it will just be a flash of something. Like it could be, in your case, for example, a color. So, okay, what is this color? So again, this is where, for me, my technique is to ask the investigative questions. And the first question I ask is this my mind? And I know my mind and that space between what's my mind and my thoughts, like my thoughts and just that space of energy. And then I'll be with it for 24 hours. I will ask the questions. I'll get reinforcement of, okay, if it's this, then what is it behind it? And then just like that, it's almost like I'm having a conversation with something else, but I know it's not my thoughts.
I mean, it's incredibly hard to understand, but I also think it's really hard for you and for me or anyone trying that to trust, right? To trust that it's not your mind, to trust that you're receiving another kind of information. So how have you been working on that, and what can somebody do to work on that in their own training to kind of be intuitive themselves?
Again, I think first and foremost, we have to get our energies right to really truly be a fair instrument to what we're providing. So personally, I work every day to do my meditation, to do certain mantras to keep my energy space and my mind a certain way. And this is many years of developing myself, and even how creating that space within myself. it wasn't overnight. At the same time, this is stuff that's probably been happening to me in my teenage years and in my 20s, but I've been too reluctant to say anything. But what I recognize is the more that I say it and the more that I trust the process and I'm able to convey it and get validation from other people that this is true, then the more I trust that what I'm receiving is correct. So just in this past month, I've received about 5 different intuitive messages that I've had to pass on. And I've questioned myself, could this really happen? And I said, okay, no, it does happen. Then I'll talk to that person like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what's happening. Thank you. And I had this dream, and it gets validated. And then again, I go back to the research of some medical diagnosis. Particularly, last week I was speaking to someone that you had introduced me to, and it was a whole new thing I'd never heard of. And through going through these journals, I'm like, oh, now it connects. So I think it just the validation happens the more I give, and just completely trusting the divine process of all of this.
If you like this video, remember to subscribe for updates. There'll be more interviews coming soon. Also, check out thethetawave.com for more info.